Hey guys, I'm the Dergs, and welcome to Really Red Gaming. Today we're going to talk about a genre of gaming I've barely dabbled in. That is, tabletop games. Now I know that line alone is enough to turn a handful of you off, but hear me out. Up until the last 3 years or so, the most difficult board game I had played was half a game of Risk. So when I say I'm new to this, I'm not lying. With that being said, I've had the opportunity to play a lot of really cool games these last couple of years. But whenever I bring someone new to the table, there seems to be one game I always reach for. That is, Lords of Waterdeep. Created by Wizards of the Coast, the same company that brings you Dungeons & Dragons, Lords of Waterdeep is surprisingly easy to learn and a blast to play. So what do you say? Let's get started. Having almost no experience with anything other than Monopoly or Risk, Lords of Waterdeep's contents were intimidating. But after the first round of the game, it all made sense. So let's take a look at all this stuff. First thing to come out of the box is this awesome map of Waterdeep, the City of Splendors. Waterdeep gets both its wealth and name from the deep water basin located in the south of the city. This map will act as our board. Then you have the player mats that show what faction each color represents, the Lord cards, which show you who you're playing as, intrigue cards that act as action cards in this game, and the quest and building cards, which we'll go over a little bit later. Also, we have the currency pieces represented as 1 or 5, 5 being the moon-shaped one, victory point pieces, and color-based scorekeepers, agents, and building markers. Finally, we have the adventure cubes, which are the building blocks of this game. Sorry. Anyways, these are 4 different colors, white being clerks, orange being fighters, blacks being rogues, and purples being wizards. But you don't need to worry about anything other than their colors unless you're into the lore of the game. Oh, and I almost forgot, the ambassador and lieutenant, which will serve as extra agent pieces under certain circumstances, in the first player piece. Whew, that's a lot of stuff. So what do you do with all of it? First things first, we have to set up the board. Done. That wasn't too bad. If you're using this video as a guide, now would be a great time to pause the video and notice the 3 face-up building tiles and 4 face-up quest cards in Cliff Watch Inn. The game starts with everyone picking a color, placing their score marker on 0, receiving their 2 face-down intrigue cards, and figuring out how many agents you get. This depends on how many people are playing. For this video, we're just going to use 2. Next, everyone chooses a random lord and is given 2 face-up quest cards. Speaking of quest cards, these are the meat of the game. At any point during your turn, you may choose to complete a quest. You do so by having all of the required cubes and or gold in your tavern and spending it. It should be noted that you don't have to complete a quest just because you have it in your possession. After completing the quest, you receive your rewards and place it face down on your player map. Quests come in 3 different types: standard, plot, which have an ongoing effect and stay face up, and mandatory. Mandatory quests are intrigue cards that you draw and give to other players. Once given a mandatory quest, you must complete that quest before completing any others. Now, past just showing you who you play as, the Lord cards are very important as well, and will give you certain criteria for earning extra victory points at the end of the game. For example, we got Duran the Wanderer. A retired adventurer, Duran owns the Yawning Portal, a tavern that stands above the entrance of the Undermountain. But, most importantly, we know we get 4 extra victory points for every Commerce and Warfare quest we complete. Which is great, seeing as we were given 1 of each, and there are 3 other types: Arcana, Piety, and Skullduggery. It's almost as if someone set this game up. Finally, whoever most recently went out of town gets to go first, and they are given 4 gold, with each player after them receiving 1 more than the player before them. So, for example, player 2 will get 5 gold, and player 3 will get 6. Right, so now we're ready to play. Lords of Waterdeep is broken into 8 rounds. In each round, players get 1 turn for every agent they have in their agent pool. Each turn in a round, everyone has a chance to do 2 things: either assign an agent or complete a quest. The bulk of the game is assigning agents to areas of Waterdeep and receiving the benefits from the stated area you choose. So, for example, if you place an agent on Castle Waterdeep, you become first player and are given an intrigue card. The catch to this is normally most places on the board only allow 1 agent per round. So let's say you really need a white block to complete your quest. If someone before you goes to the plinth, then it's taken, and you cannot go there. Now there are 2 exceptions to this rule. Cliffwatch Inn, which has 3 spots that you can go to per round, all of which give you a quest. The first 2 spots allow you to receive one of the face-up quests in either 2 gold or an intrigue card, and the last one allows you to reset all of the face-up quests and pick from one of the 4 new ones placed. The other exception is Waterdeep Harbor, which has 3 places per round you can go, all of which allow you to play an intrigue card. If the adventurer cubes are the building blocks of this game, then you could call the intrigue cards the mortar. But really, intrigue cards can turn around in your favor quickly. They do everything from stealing gold from everyone playing and giving it to you, to allowing you to place an agent on an already used spot. But wait, there's more. At the end of a round, once everyone has placed all of their agents, a player that went to Waterdeep Harbor can move to any open spot left on the board. Now rarely is there anything good open, but this is something important to keep in mind. The last major strategic aspect of this game comes into play at the Builder's Hall. If a player has enough gold to build any of the buildings face up in the Builder's Hall, they can go to this place and build a building. The cost of buildings is always in gold, and it is shown in the top left-hand corner of the building card. Building a building brings it into play and opens up a new place to land on every round. On top of this, the player that owns the building is given something every single time a player lands there. So for example, if I have 4 gold and choose to build the stone house, every player that lands on this spot from here on out will gain 1 gold for every building tile in play. On top of that, every time someone else lands there, I get 2 gold just for having it built. Now, one thing to note is at the end of every round, a victory point piece is placed on every face-up building in Builder's Hall. So let's say that there's a building that is so bad that no one wants to build it the whole game. By the end of the game, this building will have 8 victory points on it. So if you build it, you get 8 victory points just for building it. And that about wraps up Lords of Waterdeep. The game is 8 rounds long, with everyone receiving an extra agent on round 5. At the end of the game, you total your victory points and the player with the most wins. Honestly, there's not many bad things I have to say about this game. Sure, some of the lords seem a little bit more powerful than the others, and at times, if you get bad draws on intrigue cards, you can feel like you're going to get left in the dust. But other than that, the game is weighted extremely well. With so many small ways to earn victory points, the amount of strategy that can go into this game is insane. If you have the opportunity to play Lords of Waterdeep, do it. Most recently, I've gotten to play this game with a handful of people that have never played board games at all. And honestly, it's a blast. The adventure you can create if you play into just a little bit of the lore is awesome. Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. It's greatly appreciated. To say that this video was a learning curve would be an understatement. It has been a pain in the butt to put together, and it's definitely a little rough around the edges, but I'm curious to see what you all think. I've got a lot of really cool stuff planned for the future, but as always, I'm open to suggestions and new ideas. So if you got anything specific you'd like to see, go ahead and leave that in the comments below, and I'll check it out. Anyways, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.